You're listening to TC TAUX on TNT.
What's going on, guys? It is TC here, back with another episode of TC TAUX, and I know you thought I was going to leave you without a Cubs episode today, but fear not. I'm going to be bringing you a Cubs and MLB segment for you today, so have that to enjoy. But before we dive into that, I want to thank you for being here. Go ahead, give the video and the channel some likes, hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below what your favorite animal is. Go check out our Instagram right now if a hippo is your favorite animal, because we got a little baby hippo on the channel for you right there on our Instagram, the Winner Circle STC, and let us know, do you prefer to look at things when you're experiencing them, or do you like to document them? Meaning, do you like to take pictures, video, all that stuff? Because for me, when I was looking back at that video, I was like, you know what, this is cool, it's nice to have, but at the same time, I wish I would have paid a little bit more attention to the hippo when I was really at the zoo. So let us know your thoughts on our Instagram, down in the comment section below, whatever you want to do. What is your favorite animal? But without further ado, let's dive into today's content. So, the Chicago Cubs are coming off of a loss yesterday against the San Francisco Giants. This is no surprise, as the Cubs are kind of choking on their own mediocrity right now. Seems like some guys are going to be traded by the end of before the end of the trade deadline. So it's not a lot of hope in Chicago right now for some of those guys, unfortunately. But for some hope, they were able to scratch at least one win away from the San Francisco Giants. So that means it is a possibility that they could go ahead and split the series, which would be phenomenal and give credence to what they said about coming out and playing hard, being competitive in the second half of the season. And they definitely have been. The longest winning streak came after the All-Star break. So shout out to those Cubs for being able to get the job done and doing it good. But in either case, there's also some down news. This is not their last away game. Unfortunately, they have to wrap up their away stretch with their division rival, St. Louis Cardinals, who are still one of the favorites to get Juan Soto. So that should be interesting to see. But in either case, they're going to have a tough tackle to climb with one of the best teams in the NL. But in either case, the Chicago Cubs have been looking, rather decent, and it's not just because they've been winning. They've been doing a much better job at the plate and on the mound. And with that pitching, they have only given up 4 or more runs twice this whole stretch that they've gone on since the All-Star break. Additionally, they have gotten 4 runs or more than 5 times already. So they're already showing that they got the bats moving, that they're able to outscore their opponents, XYZ, all these great things at this time. And that's great to see, given the trends that we were seeing from this team before the All-Star break. A lot of guys haven't looked good, but since returning, we got a number of players that are coming through for these Cubs. Most notably, though, Ian Happ hitting .333 since the All-Star break with 4 RBIs. Wilson Contreras hitting an impressive .307 with 2 RBIs. They are definitely going to miss that bat if they trade him away. Another guy who deserves a little bit of mention, despite the fact that his hitting's not as consistent as some of these other guys, but he does get the job done, and that is Nico Horner. He's only hitting .200, but he leads the team in RBI since the All-Star break with 6. 2 players that I'm kind of worried about at this moment for the Cubs is Schwindel, who's only hitting .211 with 2 RBIs, and that's including those games where they won in that 15-2 blowout and that 6-2 extra innings win earlier in the in the returns from the All-Star break against the Phillies. But in either case, another guy who's kind of been struggling a little bit more is Seiya Suzuki. He's only hitting 200, 3 RBIs. I was looking at the score sheets, and he has a number of no-hit games. In fact, the biggest thing holding him over in terms of his average was the returning game from the All-Star break where he went 4 for 5. Other than that game, there was only one additional game where Seiya hit for multi-hits, and that was a little bit later on down the road. He had 0 for 4 games multiple times, an 0 for 5 game, so honestly, not a good look, especially when we were talking about how good of a player he is, how big of a difference maker he can be when he's hitting. And that's exactly what the Cubs need, is they need a guy who's able to get the job done, string along these hits consistently, and with the news of Wilson Contreras probably getting the axe, the fact that Seiya is struggling right now doesn't bode well for these Cubs. I know they said they were going to come out and be competitive, and they have been to a certain degree, but even the home run king, the leader of the team in that regard, Patrick Wisdom, has not really shown up this second half of the season, only hitting 250 with 4 RBIs, so not anything too negative. I mean, I know he's a power hitter. He's not trying to hit for above 300. He's trying to go out there and score some runs the way he knows how, and that's hitting bombs. So I got to respect that, and I understand that. But at the same time, with only 4 RBIs over the span of, I believe, 8 games already, that's not really promising, especially when you see Nico Horner up there with 6 RBIs, Ian Happ's right there with 4 RBIs, Seiya Suzuki, who's hitting 200 with multiple no-hit games, has 3 RBIs. So Patrick Wisdom is kind of in a little bit of a funk. I wouldn't say he's in a slump, but he's definitely in some sort of funk, and he definitely needs to get out of it, because if he's able to get explosive, these Cubs go from being a decent competitor to deadly, especially with the rest of the team hitting like this. So honestly, Patrick, I don't know if you got to stretch a little bit more between the games, wake up 10 minutes earlier, or whatever you got to do, but you got to go out there and do that so these Cubs can look fantastic. That's exactly what we want here in the Windy City. Our North Siders definitely need to be looking a lot sharper finishing this season. So in any case, Adrian Sampson takes on Carlos Rodon tonight on ESPN for the final matchup between the San Francisco Giants and the Chicago Cubs. You are not going to want to miss that game. It's at 6 p.m. Central Time. But we also got some additional MLB news. I figured I would try to keep it to the divisional opponents of these guys, as well as maybe the wild card picture, just because the Sox are still technically in the race. But in either case, let's dive into some of the division rivals of the Chicago White Sox. So today, the Guardians are taking on the Rays, so a little bit of a challenge for them. So that should be a way that the White Sox can move a game up against them. And then again, it is the Twins against the San Diego Padres, who have been hot as of late. So again, another difficult task for the division rival of the Chicago White Sox. But in either case, they still remain 3 games back in the Central against those Twins. They're a game behind Cleveland right now for second. So that's all promising and a good uplook. And it does seem like the White Sox have an easier path to the divisional crown, because they do have an easier schedule going forward from here on out. And with that easy schedule, it puts them in a good position to be in a hunt for the wild card race. As of right now, they're 3.5 games back in the wild card, with the Guardians and Orioles being the other 2 teams that are ahead of them for the spot. The Rays at 54 and 47 take the last spot. The White Sox are at 500 at 50 and 50 right now. So just 3.5 games back. Nothing too bad for the Sox, but in either case, you'd like to see them go on a little bit of a winning streak here, especially with Kansas City coming to town. That would help boost their wins above 500, hopefully getting them to 4 games above 500 if they're able to pull off the victory tonight, and as well as bring them closer to getting back to 500 at home. They currently sit 22-28. And those Chicago Cubs, I know a lot of you are saying they are not even anywhere near the picture of, winning or anything like that. And you are right. They are currently 15.5 games back in the division, and they are currently 12.5 games back in the wild card. So an unlikely comeback for this team, and it's rather unfortunate because if you would have saw this momentum come out of there in the gate, you could have saw a very interesting team take a very far trip into the playoffs potentially, because as much as we like to rip on the Cubs and say they're Chicago's second baseball team right now until they get back to winning shape, they're still going to be competitive. There's something just always interesting, and it seems like there's just something in the atmosphere of the North Side that draws everything out of players. The best that they could get seems to come out of every one of their players. So that's just something that, as a lifelong Sox fan, so I didn't really see this growing up, but something that I've seen now, I could truly appreciate that they're able to do, because when I look at the Sox, and I don't mean this in a too begrudging way, in a disrespectful way, but there has been times where you've noticed players seem to come to Chicago and they don't seem to perform anywhere near the level they were before they got here. And I'm sure that's true for every team. They definitely have paid someone that they shouldn't, but at the same time, it just hurts a little bit more when it's your own city. In either case, this has been another episode of TC Talks. I hope you guys enjoyed the wild card / playoff picture for each team. Unfortunately, it looks like the Sox are going to be the only ones that stay in it. The Twins and Guardians with some difficult games tonight against the Rays and the Padres, respectively. But for the White Sox, they got an easy schedule ahead of them, so hopefully they're able to come out on top. They got 3 games against the Royals. That means they can make up those 3 games. They are back against the Twins right there. But let me know what you guys think. Are the Sox going to be able to rebound and recapture the AL Central, or are they going to slip away and be the worst of the 2 Chicago teams despite having the better record? Let me know your opinions down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Like it, subscribe it, all of that. Until next time, peace.